morning, my friends, and happy Friday. Today, we are going on an exciting journey. What kind of a journey? An exotic one, of course. So today I have a necklace for you, and that's what we called it. We called it Exotic Journey. It's a really kind of an interesting juxtaposition of many different elements. We have stringing, we have a little bit of wire work, and we have leather. So we're going to do a little exploring. We're definitely going to enjoy our beautiful colors. And who knows, maybe we'll talk about journeys. So I know we're all kind of craving one of right around, at least I am. I wish I could go on a journey. Although, of course, we just went to Tucson, so I shouldn't complain. But it's always fun to dream. Anyway, let me show you what we are making today. And it's a necklace and a color palette that is very near and dear to my heart. I love these vibrant colors that are evocative of the Southwest. But, you know, in addition to the Southwest, this color palette reminds me of so many places. And I know this is that iconic palette that we think of as when we go maybe to Sedona, or, you know, we're traveling somewhere in the American Southwest. But it's also kind of iconic to some of the other places in the world. So I was just saying last night that this actually reminds me of some of my trips to Morocco. And, you know, when you think of those beautiful, warm places that are sunny, this is the color palette that I think of. So this also reminds me of Portuguese tiles. This reminds me of several different places in Europe. I've never been to Greece, but I can kind of imagine that beautiful sea, and some of the turquoise is really evocative of that. So maybe you guys can tell me what it reminds you of. And we'll talk about color choices.
Angela says good morning.
Good morning, Angela.
Pammy J says good morning, Irina, Tony, Lauren, and everyone.
Good morning, Pammy J.
Lindsay says good morning, Irina, Tony, Lauren, and all.
Good morning, Lynn.
Betty says good morning, you guys.
Hi, Betty. Good morning.
And Connie says good morning, Irina, Tony, and Lauren. It's a beautiful day in Kentucky.
Oh, yay. I'm so glad, Connie. It's actually beautiful here. It's not warm here in Wisconsin, but it is quite beautiful.
Ellen says, hi, Irina. Just placed my order. Looking forward to the demo.
Hi, Ellen. Awesome. Did you order an Exotic Journey necklace?
Nancy says good morning to you all.
Good morning, Nancy.
Julie says good morning. This necklace is fantastic.
Good morning, Julian. Thank you so much. And I'm just showing you some of the pieces that we have made in recent weeks. And I feel they are just a really good, not necessarily a match. I don't necessarily make anything to specifically match, but rather to complement. So if you are a necklace layerer like I am, these would be a great complement. If you already bought the painted desert necklace, and maybe you already made it, who knows? Let me know if you already made the desert necklace.
Heidi says good morning. It is so beautiful.
Good morning, Heidi. Thank you so much, my dear.
Carol says good morning to all.
Hello, Carol.
And Sue says good morning.
Good morning, Sue.
And Lonnie says good morning. Spectacular statement piece.
Oh, thank you so much, Lonnie.
And Robin Lisa says good morning.
Hello, Robin Lisa.
Carol says good morning to all.
Good morning, Carol.
Ellen says ordered those wonderful bracelet kits and pinch ends.
Oh, yay. Thank you so much. Oh, are we talking about my blingy bracelets right here. I know this doesn't go, it doesn't go at all with my Southwest theme here. But this is what we talked about last night. This was actually this one specifically was my demo in last night's video with St. Patty's coming up. Of course, I featured all sorts of wonderful greens. So we have a Celtic adventure here, and we have a boho bling in a new color. All right, guys, so I don't know if this is the one you were talking about. I hope it is. So
Ellen says yes.
oh, yay, thank you so much. Enjoy. So we are about to go on an exotic journey, and in your mind's eye, it can be anywhere. You tell me what this palette reminds you of. So today, and I know this is a new element right here. So this is going to be my demo today. So you know how I love making pieces in multiple color palettes, and it's just a fun challenge to come up with a different color palette that makes you happy. And playing with color is just something I enjoy so much. So I'm going to move some of these other pieces, and we are going to get started. So so I think I will leave my sample right here at the edge of my work surface, so we can kind of see what we're doing.
Trudy says good morning, all.
Good morning, Trudy.
And Janny says good beady morning, everyone. I always love your designs. I'd have every single kit if I could.
Oh, thank you so much, Jenny. And good beady morning to you as well. Or with St. Patty's coming up, should we say top of the beating morning to you? I know. I can't do Irish accent, if my life depended on it. It just does not layer well with my own accent, so it's all right. You guys know where I was going with that.
Lonnie says about time for some earrings for all the necklaces and bracelets.
You know what? I love making earrings. I absolutely love making earrings. Oh, did you see my last night's video? Wait, where are my shamrock earrings? I had a pair of shamrock earrings, and I don't know, what did I do with it? I must have moved it. You know what? I think we can find them. I bet you anything they're in this room. So just for a moment, I'm going to hold the camera while Tony is looking for the shamrock earrings. So in the meantime, I'm just going to tell you that I pre-string the beads onto the soft flex wire, so that you don't have to sit and watch me just string beads for half an hour. So I'll talk a little bit about that. But in the meantime, Tony just found my shamrock earrings. So this is what we did last night. So yes, we did do some earrings, but I know what you meant, Lonnie. You probably meant let's make some earrings to go with all of these beautiful Southwest colors. So let me know if I'm reading your comment correctly. So in the meantime, you know what? Let me think about it. I think I might just come up with a pair of earrings. I think that's a fantastic idea. One of my favorite beads of all time is this copper edged bead, and putting it into any project, just a single bead, brings so much color and so much elegance, and the fact that it brings another color of metal, it just adds a lot to the palette. I might just take that as inspiration for our Southwest earrings. What do you guys think? I think you're right. We do need a pair of earrings. So, in fact, you know what? One of the bracelets I have on has another version of that bead. So you guys probably, well, some of you may remember this bracelet. So this too is turquoise that's copper edged. I absolutely love these beads. And yes, we do have them in the Etsy shop if anybody is wondering. So Tony is checking right now, but if we don't have them, I'm pretty sure we do have some version of the copper edged beads in the Etsy shop. We've had rounds, we've had triangles, ovals, and so forth. In the meantime, we are going to get started. So I think at this point most people know what soft flex wire is, but just in case if you're just getting started in stringing, it is this wonderful, very flexible wire that is made for stringing. And it's really quite amazing because it's very flexible and yet it is made out of steel. So it is multiple micro wires that are encased in like a plastic tube. So the wonderful thing about it is that it is so strong. However, we cannot knot it, so we use a crimp and a crimper. So, oh, and yes, I do have a crimper, yay. So, what we're going to do is take one of my little stoppers off, and I finally found my stoppers. You know, after the move, I'm still finding things in that stage, you know, of unpacking. So I'm using a stopper, and this obviously keeps all my beads on the wire. So I will take one of my stoppers off and we will talk about crimps and crimp covers and wire guardians and all the really, really good basics of beading.
Jenny says, there you go, and sure, Bagora, LOL. I think it's Irish for by God. I looked it up. I had to look it up because I didn't know.
I love it. That's awesome. Thank you so much. Okay. And I should learn that because, you know, as I keep telling everybody now that I've done the DNA test, I'm 4% Irish. Woohoo! So we have our crimp on, and it's just a little tube. So I think everybody knows what a crimp is by now. And now we're going to string the soft flex wire through this little horseshoe, otherwise known as a wire guardian. So just as the name suggests, it's meant to protect the wire, but it does so much more than just protecting the wire, which in itself is of course a very, very good thing. It's good to have this wire guardian so that the wire does not keep rubbing against whatever next component is. But more than that, it creates a loop so that we can later connect to that loop in a very clean way. So really what we're exploring in this project is not just a how to crimp or use these various techniques, but also how to gracefully connect from one technique to the next. So what I like to do is bring the sides of the wire guardian together just a little bit like that, just to kind of close that loop a little. And now we are going to push the crimp right next to the wire guardian. So here is our crimp. Now it's right next to the wire guardian. Well, not quite right next to. There's just a tiny, tiny little space between the crimp and the wire guardian. You can see I can put my fingernail right in that little space.
Janny says, I like that earring idea. That turquoise bead is just something special.
Oh, thank you so much, Jenny. Well, you know what? I am committed to the earring idea. we are doing it. I don't know when we're doing it, maybe a couple of weeks from now, because you may already have seen I have previewed the projects for next week, but maybe we'll do the earrings for the week after. How does that sound? Okay, so I didn't talk it through, but here are my 2 holes in the crimper tool, and you can see the bean-shaped hole right there. So that is the one you use first. That opening is the one you use first. And then we're going to switch to our next opening, which is the oval opening. And we're going to fold the crimp one more time. And it's going to look something like this.
Laura O says, good morning, I'm late.
Good morning, Laura. It's okay. You can join us whenever you want. I am just so happy to hear from you. And we will, of course, cut off that little tail, that little extra wire end, so that we can cover our crimp. And the crimp cover looks like this. I use these a lot. In fact, if you watched me last night, you would have seen this. It's just a round bead that has not been closed. And we are going to use a flat nose pliers to pick up the crimp cover. Of course, last night it was a knot cover, and this time it's a crimp cover. So I'm holding it with my flat nose, and I'm just going to put it right over the crimp and start closing it right away. As soon as it's over the crimp, just start bringing the 2 sides together. This way it doesn't run away from you.
Linda says, morning everyone, I'm late as well.
Good
And
morning,
sends a
Linda.
cactus.
Oh, thank you so much for the cactus. That always makes me happy. Okay, guys, so I'm using the flat nose pliers again, and I'm closing that little gap in the cover, the crimp cover. So I'm closing it by shifting my pliers right to where the seam is, and this way I'm able to close it so that it just looks like a little round bead. So there it is. This is what it looks like. It looks like it was never open in the first place. And we're going to do the same thing on the other end. So I just want to show you how I string the beads before I do that. So this is what I have. I think it's a lot easier to show it now rather than later. So I have alternated. This time, of course, I am using the beautiful purple spiny oyster. And you can see that I have the spiny oyster alternating with those little hematite spacers. And that has worked very well. Because when you use these types of beads, the way the spiny oyster is cut is kind of flat. It's not entirely flat, but it's on the flat side definitely. And unless you have a little spacer in between, it can be a round spacer, it can be a flattish spacer, but it has to be something a little bit smaller than the spiny oyster beads so that it can easily curve, because otherwise the spiny oyster strands are a little bit stiff if you don't have a little spacer in between. So that is just the mechanics of it. And so the other thing that I would like to point out is that I have slightly smaller beads on the sides here. And when you get your beads, the way the strands come, they're fairly random in size. So you can see that I have larger, chunkier beads towards the front and maybe more like flattish beads towards the sides. And that is just the choice that I made and how I wanted to arrange my beads. So you can choose to do it differently, you can do it a little bit more randomly, but I really like the look of the chunkier beads towards the front. So, and you can, that's the fun part. You can play with your beads, you can make them, you can see I made them a little bit graduated. And you can make yours a little bit graduated or not, you can just make it random. That is half of the fun, just playing with your beads, right?
Kimberly says, morning, I love the bracelet.
Good morning. Thank you so much, Kimberly.
Oh, sorry, necklace.
Necklace.
She did say necklace. I said bracelet.
Okay. No, I was wondering if you were referring to the bracelet or one of the bracelets that I showed before. So, because I did show a few bracelets several minutes ago, but what we're working on today is, of course, a necklace. And so I'm doing the same thing on this other side, and that is I have a crimp on my soft flex wire. Then I have a wire guardian, and it's being a little bit stubborn, so I'm just going to grab the end of my soft flex wire and pull it through into the crimp. So now the challenge is going to be getting close to our beads, but not too close. So what that means is that we just want to make sure that everything hangs nicely. We kind of want our necklace to be drapey and flexible. So you want to check before you really commit. So I am checking it twice. And now we are going to use our chain nose pliers to bring the two sides of the wire guardian a little bit closer, making that loop a little smaller. And this also is going to give us a little bit more soft flex in between. So again, we're just going to recheck and make sure everything is just how we want it.
Kimberly says, sorry I'm joining late.
It's okay, Kimberly. I'm just really happy you're joining.
Pammy J says, I love the glossy shine of the beads.
Oh, thank you, Kimberly. I love these beads so much. I think they're just fantastic. There's just something so amazing about them. The colors are so special. Those, and all the colors are natural. The purples, the yellows, the oranges, it's all natural color. So let me just point out one thing after I trim my excess wire. So just trim the wire. So if you just position your, well, not a necklace yet, but your segment of beads, and if you kind of bunch them up to one side, or maybe if we just let gravity work, if we hold on to the one side, you will have a little tiny gap. Maybe if you're holding your beads up like this, like I'm just eyeing my gap, and it's no more than 3 millimeters. It's somewhere between 2 and 3 millimeters. But it's that little gap that's actually a good thing to have, because as you curve the necklace, which of course when we wear the necklace it's always going to be curved like this, the beads spread and now you don't have a gap. So if you make it too tight and there's no gap when the beads are like this, just laid out straight, what will happen is they're going to bunch up and it's just going to look a little bit too tight and awkward. So make sure that you have that little bit of a gap. Sorry if I'm over explaining. So next, we are going to make several different links. So these are going to be wrap loop links. And since I'm working with a different color palette, I changed the color palette in the beads just a tiny bit. So this is what I'm doing. I'm just kind of laying out the secondary color palette, or the purple color palette. We called the red one is called Red Mosaic, and the purple is called Purple Sky. So right now you are seeing my color palette for the Purple Sky. As you can see, a lot of the beads are the same, but some are different. So this is a bit darker, this is a little bit moodier. And at the same time, I really wanted to pick up the yellow in those beautiful purple yellow spiny oyster beads. So I'm using everybody's favorite. This is one of everybody's favorites right now. This is Bumblebee Jasper. So much like in the original, we have the copper edge turquoise. Then in the original, we have the amethyst. In the new version, we have the black onyx. Then we have, in the original, we have the turquoise and amethyst, and here we have the turquoise and black tourmaline. And I love black tourmaline. It just has this beautiful sheen. So as you can see, I pre-made all but one of the little connectors. So we'll make our last connector, and this will give us a good chance to review our wrap loop. So of course, we're going to start our wrap loop by making a 90-degree angle in our wire, approximately 1 inch from the end. I know it's a little longer, but it can be a little longer. And I'm going to use my round nose pliers to just start my loop. So since I haven't really done a good comprehensive demo of a loop in a while, I'm just going to break this into a few little steps. So this is what I like to do. I get to the point where it looks like a little bit of a question mark or half a loop. You can see how that is half a loop. And then I guide the wire by hand. So you can see I'm just guiding the wire with my thumb until it's at a 90-degree angle to the other end of the wire. So your loop should be pretty well centered, just like a little lollipop. If it's not, put your pliers back in, your round nose back in, and just kind of roll in towards yourself. And now we have a little lollipop, or a little man with a scarf, or a little lady with a scarf. That's exactly at a 90-degree angle.
Carmen says, hi everyone, gorgeous necklace.
Thank you so much, Carmen, and hello, good morning.
Robin Lisa says, love Bumblebee Jasper.
Oh, yay. It is just so vivid and amazing. It's a beautiful yellow. So I'm just wrapping that little scarf right around her neck. And we're going to cut off the excess wire and, of course, pinch it in. And this is 1/2 of our wrapped loop component. So of course we're going to string our beautiful Bumblebee Jasper onto the wire. But one thing I want you guys to know is that these are all natural beads, starting with a spiny oyster, and you know, it includes everything. It includes the copper edge turquoise, it includes the other turquoise bead, it includes every bead literally that is in front of me, including the bumblebee. Everybody will have something that is unique. There are no beads that are alike. I try to, for these kits, I try to really pick out the most vivid beads, and you know, what I pick for you guys is what I would pick for me. So everything will be beautiful, but they're all a little bit unique. So just please know that when you order your kits. And of course, we are going to again cut off the excess wire and You know what? I forgot to talk about leaving that little space for the loop, but you already knew that. So you always want to leave a little space as you're making the next loop, just enough for those two little coils. So now we have all of our connectors. There's one other component in here, which I know is a little bit obscured, but let me show you. So I have these three little turquoise beads, and I just think they add so much to the entire necklace. I love that they're a similar color to the copper edge turquoise, and you can see how different the copper edge turquoise can be. They're all absolutely beautiful, but they're all unique, just like we are. We are all unique.
Curtis says, good morning. Are these kits available now?
Good morning, Curtis. Yes and no. Thank you for asking. So the red mosaic kit is available right now. And the purple sky, which is the one that I'm working on, this will be available this afternoon. So just be a little patient with us. You know how it goes. I do it as a demo, and then we put it in the Etsy shop in the afternoon. Thank you so much for asking. All right, so I have a ball pin, and I'm stringing my little turquoise tube onto the ball pin. And now we're going to do the same thing. Actually, this is our second chance to talk about leaving that little space when we make a wrapped loop. So you can see the little space. It is approximately 1 to maybe 1.5 millimeters. And we are going to make a loop. And just as before, we have a half a loop that looks something like a question mark.
Curtis says, thank you.
My pleasure, Curtis. All right, so I'm going to just continue guiding my wire just with my fingers until I have a nice loop that is preferably centered. And you can see how I went a little bit too far with my wire. It's definitely not a 90-degree angle. So once I grab, I'm just making my loop a little bit smaller. It's a little slightly wonky. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, because the loop is actually at a slightly wrong angle for a wrap loop, I'm going to get it back to the 90-degree angle and then wrap. So remember, the closer your wire is to a 90-degree angle, the cleaner the coiling is going to be. You always want it at a 90-degree angle for a nice coil. Otherwise, it just kind of creates a little bit of a vine around the main wire. And of course, after I snipped the excess wire, I will tuck in my little and so it doesn't stick out. And there it is.
Kathy F. says, good morning, great project.
Good morning, Kathy. Thank you so much. Okay, so after we, and of course, this component comes with the two loops that you don't even have to create. So that is already there. But the rest of our components we create, and then we start assembling. So we made our, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it is 4 wrap loop components that you make, plus the 3 single loop components, also wrap loop, with the turquoise. So you pre-make all of those, and now we start assembling. And to assemble, it is just so very simple. We are going to use our jump rings. So again, just a quick review, or actually it's not going to be a quick review because we're going to be connecting all these components. So It's going to be kind of a longer review.
Ellen is wondering what type of gauge wire you are using.
Oh, thank you for asking, Ellen. So the wire gauge for all of the larger components where I actually use wire is 22 gauge. The wire gauge on the ball pins is 24. So for the bigger beads, I really recommend the 22. And of course, when you get the kit, everything is included in the kit. The wire is in the kit as well. So using the chain nose pliers and the flat nose pliers, I'm going to open the jump ring something like this and just start connecting. So I will start with my copper edge turquoise bead and close the jump ring. When you close the jump ring, I kind of push the two sides of the jump ring together a little bit so that it's just a little tighter than it started out. And this way, we're going to hear a little click or a little scrape as we bring the two sides together. Okay, so you heard the little click, and that's a good thing because here I'm just showing you that I don't have a visible gap. I can barely see where the two sides of the jump ring come together, and that is what we're going for. So if you can see light between the two sides of the jump ring, then I'm sorry, but you did not close the jump ring well enough. So what I'm going to do right now is just open a few of my jump rings so that I can do this assembly style. So when I have multiple jump rings, I just open them right away, and this saves me a little time putting my tools together, putting my tools down, picking up a new tool every time I do a step. So I believe there are something like 7 jump rings in this kit. You know, you always have a little extra jump ring just in case you lose one in the couch cushions. You know, that happens. We all know that. Okay, so I think while I am assembling, so obviously this 2-loop component goes on next, and after that, since I have everything laid out, it's very easy for me to know which one to pick up next. So that's going to be the bumblebee jasper. And the bumblebee, I love the bumblebee right next to the black onyx because it really reminds me of bees. I know it's kind of silly, but you know, when you see black and yellow together, what does it remind you of, right? So it's bees. So maybe a little nod to the bees and saving the bees is part of our exotic journey today. So this is what it looks like. This is our one side. And then I'm going to assemble the other side. And first we have our turquoise bead. So I think I'll pick up my string of spiny oyster first. And you know, I pay attention to which side is up and which side is down. If I have a slightly larger side to the turquoise, I kind of want that down so that the slender side is up. It's just, you know, it's just my aesthetic. You can do it differently, but there's so many small details to this, and I love all these small details. You know, you start noticing things, patterns, colors that maybe you haven't noticed before. It's kind of exciting. So next I have my black tourmaline. Yes, so what I was going to say is that while I am assembling, you can tell me about your exotic journeys. Maybe tell me about your favorite journey, or tell me about what do these colors remind you, because it's always very interesting to hear other people's perspective on color. So what does this remind you guys? So next I'm going to string all of my, so now I'm connecting the loop from the black tourmaline to the jump ring, and on the same jump ring I am putting all of my turquoise beads. So here are all my turquoise beads right here. And before we close the jump ring, what I will do is connect the chain. So now all of the components are in the jump ring. So we have the loop connecting to the black tourmaline, we have the 3 turquoise components, and the chain. I'm just repeating this one because there's a lot of stuff going on here, right? There are a lot of components that are being connected by this jump ring. So this is what it looks like. I like it when all of the little turquoise are kind of bunched up on one side or 2 sides. You know, they're just cute.
Carol says, reminds me of sea lions on rocks.
Oh my gosh, that's so cute. I love sea lions and I love seals. Seals are so cute. Oh my gosh. You know, seals always remind me of one of our dogs.
Ellen says, reminds me of my trip to Santa Fe, New Mexico. Loved that trip.
Oh, yay. Santa Fe is so beautiful. And yes, it definitely reminds me of that as well.
Connie says, gorgeous, and sends a heart.
Oh, thank you so much, Connie. All right, guys. So we're going to open our next jump ring and connect it to our bumblebee and the other end of the chain. And I know you're thinking, wait, it's too short. What's going on here? Don't worry, it's not the end. I'm not finishing the necklace just yet. It's okay. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm just going to hold on to the chain and make the 2 sides even as far as where the spiny oyster is, right? So I want the spiny oyster level on both sides. And you can see that there's a little asymmetry going on, not only with the beads themselves, but also where, here, I'm just going to put this down for a sec so I can be pointing at things. So again, let's kind of make these even. So here's our spiny oyster, and so you can see that the beads end a little higher on one side than the other side. So let's talk just a little bit about asymmetry. When you have asymmetry, it's good to have balance. It's good to have visual balance. And so you have visual balance when you look at this necklace. It doesn't look out of proportion, and this is why. If you look at the sizes of some of the pieces, they balance one another out. So for example, on one side we have a large component and another large component. Then we have a smaller component and another smaller component. And then at the top we have these 3 little turquoise tubes, which visually are about the same as the bumblebee bead. So it doesn't have to be exactly the same, but visually we want to have that weight to be similar. So in this case, the way that this worked out, and I like how it worked out, that's why I left it. So the way it worked out is so that the beads on this side are shorter than the beads on this side. No worries. What we'll do, in order for everything to be balanced and for the spiny oyster to be level like this, what we'll do is we'll compensate with the length of the chain. So you see how I have my chain centered right here, and it looks to me like this large loop just needs to go because that's the center at the top. So I'm just going to get rid of that large loop, cut through it, and now we have the chain exactly even on each side. Does it have to be exactly even? I don't know, probably not. But if you want your spiny oyster to be centered as you wear it, this is what we need to do. Very, very simple. And actually, since we are going to be connecting right into the chain and tying our leather on right onto the chain, actually, it would be better to also cut away the smaller loops. So I think I'm going to just cut these off, leaving the larger loops at the ends. And yours may end up to be slightly different because, as I said, every bead is just a little bit different. Some only vary in color, and others vary in size as well. Not a whole lot, but so this is how it worked out for me. So make sure that you have 2 large links at the end. And then to finish the necklace, we have the leather. So this is like a really long segment of leather. I think it's about 2.5 feet. For my sample, I think I used just under 2 feet. So don't feel you have to use the whole thing. Just kind of measure everything, decide on how long you want your necklace to be, and then go from there. So, so it actually can be, I believe, up to about 44 or 45 inches. So most people don't need a necklace quite that long. So I have a little piece of paper here in front of me because I'm about to use glue. And today I'm using GS cement because the applicator on GS cement is going to be just right for what I'm doing.
Pammy J is wondering what size leather you have.
Oh, thank you for asking, Pammy J. This is 2mm leather. It's not very often that I actually use 2mm leather, but I decided that this needs something a little bit, normally my go-to leather is 1.5. But I felt that this needs something a little bit more chunky. And I'm just tying a regular overhand knot like I do most of the time. And it's a very easy way to finish our necklace. It's just a simple knot that anybody can do. But, of course, I don't want to rely on just a knot and to make it stay, we're going to use a little bit of glue. I don't know, is this too long? I think, you know, since I didn't grab a ruler, I'm just going to measure against my other piece. And yeah, it's pretty close. Maybe I'll make it just a little bit shorter. But you can plan this out exactly as you want. So make sure you measure, figure out just how long you want your necklace to be. And because, you know, once we make those knots and glue them, that's it. It's a done deal. So what I'm going to do is, once I've tied my knot, I'm going to actually loosen it just a tiny bit. So it's not a very tight knot. And before we make it really snug, we are going to figure out which way the leather is going to be pulled. So clearly I'm going to be pulling it in this direction, right? So this part of the leather is going to go right underneath this part. So what I'm going to do is just put a little tiny bit of glue, a little tiny drop, right? So not a lot. And unlike super new glue, this GS cement is, it doesn't dry quite as fast, so we don't have to rush as much, but still in a timely manner. I'm going to pull this through, and it looks like, even though I only applied a tiny little bit, it looks like it's just a little much. So that's why I have my little piece of paper. You can always remove the excess glue, and nice and snug. You can just use your hands, or if you want, you can use a tool if that's helpful. So something like this, where you look where you pull with your flat nose pliers. The leather is pretty strong, so we can pull it like we mean it, and just leave it for a little bit.
Randy says, love this. Love this. Is this a kit? I would use adjustable slip knot on the leather.
Oh, that's a great idea, Randy. You can certainly personalize it any way that you want. You can personalize it by putting a clasp on it, or with an adjustable knot. I mean, literally anything that you feel would make it more wearable for you, you can do that. So thank you so much. And yes, it is a kit. It is in the Etsy shop. Well, at least the red version, the red mosaic, is in the Etsy shop. And Purple Sky, which is what I'm making right now, is going to be in the Etsy shop this afternoon. So just a little tiny bit of glue. And you know, it's the glue that comes with this awesome little needle, which is just a perfect plug for the applicator. So when you need to get into these little spaces, it's a really good one to have. And I'm just going to, again, pull this nice and tight. And if I see that there's a little extra glue, I'm going to whisk it away with the corner of my piece of paper.
Randy says the red is my fave. Beautiful.
Oh, thank you so much. I don't know yet which one of these my favorite is. I do like the red a lot. I love those classic Southwest colors, but I also love the purple. And the purple has this beautiful polish. Well, I mean, they both are polished beautifully, but because the purple has slightly chunkier beads, I don't know if you've noticed, it's not just the one strand that I am using, but it's all of the purple is maybe a little bit more varied in bead sizes.
Lonnie says earrings with the purple spiny oyster and bumblebee would be great.
Yeah, that sounds wonderful. Thank you, Lonnie. You know what? Maybe we'll play around with that 2 weeks from now. So I think that's a great suggestion. So here are my two necklaces side by side. They are sisters, but they're definitely not twins. Oh, and yes, I did cut off the ends. I didn't say much, but I cut off the ends. Technically, it's a super good idea to just give it maybe like 24 hours to let the glue dry. I know with super new glue, when I use that, it's instant. But with GS cement, I think they say that it takes 5 minutes. Well, 5 minutes, 24 hours. I always feel better with 24 hours. So that's just a suggestion. But definitely don't wear it immediately after you make it, because the glue is still a little bit tacky.
Kathy H says the red is pretty, but I love the purple.
Oh, thank you so much, Kathy. You know what? I love these together. Look at how rich that is. I just love that. So, and of course, it just sort of completes our Southwest suite, which we have been working on for the past few weeks. No, it doesn't complete it. What am I saying? It doesn't complete it. The earrings are going to complete it. So I am very happy for the suggestion. Please keep them coming. As you know, I love it when you give me suggestions. So this is our Southwest suite for the past few weeks. I just like showing all of this together because all these colors make me so happy.
Betty says I like the metal inserts on those donuts.
Oh, thank you so much, Betty. So it's like you read my mind. I'm going to show you right now.
Trudy is wondering if you can model the necklaces, please.
I would love to Trudy. Yes, absolutely.
And Janny says both colorways are beautiful. Thank you. Thanks to watching your videos and completing some of your projects, I am learning to look and incorporate those small but important details that really make a project sing.
Oh, thank you so much. Oh, that is just music to my heart. Talking about singing. Yes, I love it. So yes, I do have some other necklaces here. I'm just going to throw them in the back. In the back, right? So, okay. So what do you think? Ta-da! And, I don't know, can you see the bottom of it?
Just barely.
Just barely. Here, let me kind of stand up a little bit. And of course, this really goes with the painted desert. Ta-da! What do you guys think? So here, well, you know, I love to wear everything at once. So here it all is.
Curtis,
all my treasures.
Curtis says maybe making a bracelet or necklace design for men would complete the Southwest designs.
All right, I love it. Maybe we'll make kind of a unisex bracelet, because you know, I mean, this is color is for everybody, right? And beautiful beads, beautiful jewelry. So we'll work on that, Curtis. I love the suggestion, and again, keep them coming. I love all of your ideas. I can't have all of the ideas. It's a community, you guys. Please share your ideas, and I promise I will run with them. All right, guys. So,
Robin Lisa says, me too, learning so much.
oh, thank you so much, Robin Lisa.
Connie says, I love it.
Yay, thank you so much.
Trudy says, nice length.
Thank you. So, oh, you know what? I just wanted to, here, I don't know if you still have the camera on me, but, and I'm completely tangled in everything. But, depending on how you want to wear it, you can make it longer, you can make it shorter, you can make it really short. So, you just personalize it, make it how you want it, right?
Pammy J says, beautiful, and Robin Lisa says, looks beautiful.
Thank you so much, ladies.
Ellen says, love them. Randy says, anything goes.
Oh, yay. Yes, exactly. Anything goes. Make it how you like it.
Lonnie says, you cut your hair?
I did not cut my hair, no, Lonnie, but I probably need a haircut.
It's in a ponytail.
It's in a ponytail, yes. I like, you know, I like having a ponytail when I do this, because when I am looking down, my hair is not everywhere.
Curtis says, thank you, and sends a heart.
Oh, thank you so much, Curtis.
Ellen says, I love the spiny oyster, very languid.
Thank you so much, Alan.
And she adds, thank you so much for another wonderful demo.
Oh, my pleasure, you guys, my pleasure.
Connie says, thank you so much.
Thank
Lindsay says, can you show the short turquoise necklace you have on, please?
Absolutely, yeah. So I'll show you my turquoise necklace, and then I will show you the previews for next week, including, somebody mentioned the donuts.
Karen says, make it adjustable in the back.
Absolutely, you can make it adjustable in the back. So this is my turquoise necklace, and this is one of many of my mix and match pieces, and most of you guys are familiar with my mix and match pieces. So here I have a short little quote-unquote chain, but if I wanted to make this long and drapey, I could do that just by swapping out the chain. So all of my pieces are like Legos, just like this, where everything on clips and remixes, and you can make any focal point piece long or short. So who knows, a couple of the necklaces that I made today might actually become mix and match someday, who knows. But in the meantime, if you're interested, and if you're not familiar with the mix and match, I do have a whole series of videos on mix and match. There may be 7 or 8 of them. And So there are a lot of techniques that I not necessarily introduce, but review, explore in those videos. And it's kind of fun, even if you're not going to use exactly the same system as I do.
Lindsay says, I just love the little necklace.
Oh, thank you so much, Lynn.
And Lonnie says, love the carnelian necklace.
Thank you so much, Lonnie.
And Mary says, do you have favorites?
I do, Mary. I have a lot of favorites. Some of my very, very favorite things to wear are pods. So I make a lot of pod pieces. In fact, just maybe a month ago, I taught a pod class. This is one of my favorites. I wear it a lot. You guys probably see it way too much, right? But I love all my pods. Well, because, you know, I am such a nature person. And so when I go for a nature walk or just in my own yard, I always look for pods. And this pod, everybody asks me, what is this pod?
Looks like a shamrock.
Oh my gosh, it does kind of look like a shamrock, doesn't it? And everybody wants to know if it's a poppy. It's not a poppy. It's definitely not. It's a wildflower pod. I have no idea where I found it. Sometimes I do know. This one, I have no clue. But I make them with fine silver. In fact, I have a lot of, well, I don't know if I have a lot of pods. I have some pods in my Etsy shop. In fact, I just made a pod. Maybe if I don't have any pods, maybe we'll list one this Sunday. But I have a lot of pieces like this, and so these are my favorites. But of course, color-wise, I also have a lot of favorites. I have like that little turquoise necklace that I just showed you. That's one of my favorites. I wear it a lot.
Lonnie says, I love your pods too.
Oh, thank you. Oh, and here, well, I have another pod on actually. So this is my other pod. I didn't even realize I had a couple of pods.
Pammy J says that pod is so gorgeous.
Oh, thank you so much. You like this one or the first one? Because the one that I just finished to list in the Etsy shop looks a little bit like this.
Robin Lisa says, I love mix and match. And Randy says, love, love Labradorite.
Oh, thank you so much. Yes, me too. So, Randy, you're probably talking about this piece, right? Okay, so this is a little bit exciting. Maybe it's a lot exciting. So, for everybody who has really wanted to set stones and has not ventured there yet, maybe you're intrigued by metals, maybe you like wire work, maybe you like the idea of just setting a stone. So this is something that's a little bit new. It is gallery wire, but it is a special type of gallery wire that has two sides, and we can actually, this is very easy, even if you've never bezeled a stone, you guys can do this. I promise you can do this. This is what I'm doing next Thursday. This is going to be on my Facebook page. Of course, all of the links are going to be in the description of this video. And you can let us know if you're coming to the event. So please do RSVP. And also part of
And that will be on your page.
That's my page, yes. So it's on my Facebook page. And part of that is also these fun little inside out bezels. So we'll be doing this as well. So this is a really fun way to dress cabochon up, right? So you just take a cab, or I'm sorry, a donut. Take a donut and dress it up with some bezel wire. Robin
Lisa says, love wire work.
Oh, yay. Thank you so much, Robin Lisa. I'm so glad. You're going to love this technique. It's just fun.
Curtis, oh, hold on. I'll get to Curtis in just a second. Betty says that gives the donuts such a touch of elegance.
It does, right? Thank you so much for saying that.
And Curtis is wondering, what is the process called in making the pods?
Oh, I work with metal clay. So metal clay, there are different types of metal clay. And metal clay is essentially, it's tiny, tiny particles of fine silver. So when you work with it, and I'm just going to take one of my necklaces off, and Tony thinks that it should be called podification. No, it's not called podification. But, so I work with fine silver in the form of metal clay. And what that allows me to do is, I know it's a much longer story than this, but I'm going to make it like very short. This is a Reader's Digest version of metal clay class. So you essentially work with metal in the form of paste, or like there's this little bit of fine silver mud in a jar, and you pick it up with a brush and you paint it over an actual pod. So you go on your awesome nature walk, you come back with all sorts of treasures, right? And then you paint them, literally you're painting them with fine silver. And then you put it in the kiln and you burn it out at a very high temperature. So when you fire the kiln, when you fire the pieces in the kiln, I should say, what happens is that your actual pod will burn away and you're left with a fine silver piece, whatever it is that you make. It can be a natural piece, it can be, so let me just show you this one too. So it can be a piece like this one, which I created. It was not a pod, it was not a tiny sea urchin, but I made it look like a tiny sea urchin. So I created the shape out of cork clay, but that's a whole other story. You'll just have to come and play with me at some point.
Olivia says, I recently purchased gallery wire. I can't wait for the bezel demo.
Oh, yay! We are going to have a good time.
Randy says, so excited. I have a few cabochons. When and where is the class, please? And will you sell the wire wrap?
Absolutely. So, okay, so I'll answer your questions in the order you asked them. So when it is, it's next Thursday. So, and it is on my Facebook page at 7 o'clock CST. And we are going to explore the technique where you wrap the cabochon, and also where you do the little inside wrap for the donut. Yes, I will have a kit for this, which will include labradorite, a labradorite cabochon, a fireworks donut, and an Indian agate donut. And mainly it's because it's kind of fun to explore different sizes. So this is very similar to what you will get in the kit. It's not a kit that makes any one finished piece. It's just a kit that makes these 3 pieces, and then you can play with them and create something wonderful. And then, of course, you can share the picture with us on the Facebook page. That would be super fun. So did I answer all of your questions? I'm pretty sure I did, but let me know if I didn't. So it is next Thursday that we are going to be exploring the bezeling.
Jenny says, I had no idea that is how pods are made.
Yes, yes, it's very, very fun. It is, you know, it's simple. It's actually very beginner friendly. And I just love playing with pods. You know, it's really fun to, first of all, look for pods. So that's always a fun little journey. Maybe it's not as exotic as the necklace, but it's really fun to just go pod hunting. And again, I have a lot of flowers in my yard, so I usually hunt in my yard, but also when you go anywhere, really, you always see pods. Once you start looking, there are pods everywhere, you guys. You stop at a gas station and they have something growing, and it may have a wonderful pod, and you just kind of go and pick it. And okay, so then I also wanted to preview the other necklace that we're making next week.
I have to love autocorrect. Ellen says Irina has several terrific books on metal clay for beavers.
That's awesome.
I think it's metal clay for
I
beavers.
know, autocorrect is wonderful. Oh my God, that's awesome. Well, you know what? I do not discriminate against beavers. If beavers would like to make some metal clay jewelry, they're more than welcome. Oh, this is upside down, I just realized. So this is the preview for next Friday. And yes, all beavers and people are welcome. So it's really, obviously, it's called metal clay for beaters, yes. So metal clay is actually really one of my passions. I love working with metal clay. I love writing books on metal clay and teaching metal clay. The reason I don't do a lot of metal clay in these videos, I have done some, so if you're interested, you can always find a couple, but I don't do a lot of those videos is because really I have found that it is so much better in a class. So, so at some point, if you guys are interested, come and join me for the a class. And I do promise at some point, and who knows, maybe even this summer, we might schedule the retreat. I don't know. It's been so, everything has been so weird with the pandemic. It's been a little hard to plan, so no promises yet. But at some point, we will absolutely do the retreat. So this is my other preview. This is tribal dance necklace, and this is kind of an interesting one. I took a vintage piece, so this is a fun, very authentic vintage piece from it's something that one would wear with this ethnic dress, and they're really beautifully made. They're primitive. They're very kind of primitive in a beautiful way, and I love the movement that it brings to the piece. So that was my inspiration for next Friday's project. I hope you like this one too. It's very different from everything that we have been doing thus far. So today we went on an exotic journey, and next Friday we will be dancing. So get ready for a tribal dance. All right, guys, so I believe we covered everything, right? We covered everything that we set out to. We made this very multi-step necklace. So this is the Exotic Journey necklace in both colorways. And again, the red mosaic is available in the Etsy shop right now, and Purple Sky will be as of this afternoon.
Lonnie says, thank you. Great demos. Hope you have a fantastic week ahead. I love checking the website for new items.
Oh, yay. Thank you so much, Lonnie. And yes, we're excited. We're going to have a wonderful week. Our son is coming home from college, and it'll be a lot of fun.
Janny says, which of your books might give us the most details about what to look for in supplies, kiln, etc. for working with silver clay?
Thank you so much for asking, Jenny. I'm going to say all of them because all of my books have a section. Some of them have the same section in the front, some of them have the section in the back, and it's about tools, and so it includes everything. It includes tools, kilns, materials, everything. So every one of my books, and there are 5 of them, so every one of my books has that section. So you just pick the one that looks good to you.
Randy says, thank you. Great treat for the eyes.
Oh, thank you so much, Randy. All right, guys, thank you so much for all of your wonderful comments. I love the suggestions. Keep them coming. Those are always very, very welcome. And thanks for watching, and have a wonderful and creative weekend.